the last episode of Beyond the Mystery Box, the series where we clinically evaluate my zombies-induced psychosis by diving into the lore, we figured out that a certain element 115 might have landed on Earth via a meteorite, an element that might have been carrying some form of outer space radiation that led to the zombie outbreak. You can check out this playlist I created where every episode will be posted in order, and please support my habit of financially extorting my audience by indulging in my Patreon and or YouTube memberships. You'll get to see the episodes earlier than usual, along with some unreleased content, work in progress updates, and even a possible handcraft idea or bit I can put in my video as per your request, but that one requires turning to the dark side. Now, we ended off last time left with numerous radios that spoke of some doctors, Maxis, and Richtofen. We also got left with a lot of other questions such as, what is Riese? Who is Peter? And why the hell am I not just simply playing the game instead of looking so deeply into a bunch of MP3s played on in-game radios?
I'm over here stroking my dick.
The answer to that last question is just that I literally hate zombies and only like the fucking Greek mythology in the subtext.
I'm not sure if I should keep my Mauser or not.
Why, what's wrong with your mouse?
Mauser, not my Mauser.
Oh, mouse.
Oh my god.
I don't know anything about this game, you can tell, I think.
I mean, you spent all your infancy just looking in the lore and actually playing the game.
I just look at the Greek mythology instead of actually fucking playing the game.
So Thanatos is the...
However, more information is found not in the next map as one would expect, but rather in the main menu of the game, in these special character bios that were released alongside Shi No Numa. You see, the map introduces 4 new characters, and there is a menu that provides each one's biography. First, we meet the American, Tank Dempsey. His biography recounts a harrowing escape from a bamboo cage that he gnawed his way through in the Battle of Peleliu. Navigating malarial waters, he then killed his captors armed with just a bobby pin and a Medal of Honor that he kept secreted in various body cavities? Okay, moving on. Next, we encounter the Russian, Nikolai Belinski, a man whose gaze even Stalin dared not meet. In the fire of his eyes, one finds a burning hatred of all living things. His closet holds grim secrets and skeletons, some still covered in flesh. The biography recounts his political ascent through assassination and strategic marriages, with the 5th marriage ending in the all too mysterious, neck cleaning incident. Then we meet the Japanese Takeo Masaki, a man whose very existence revolves around perfecting discipline, revealing true character, and honoring a long lineage of decorated samurai and bushido warriors within his wealthy, centuries-old family dynasty. And finally, we delve into the enigmatic German, Dr. Edward Richtofen, the same name whispered in the radio message at Shi No Numa. His biography paints a bleak portrait of an incurable sociopath for whom the line between natural death and murder holds no distinction, lending credence to the same ominous warning etched across the walls of every Axis-controlled town. Beware the dock. It's not long before another question is answered in Riese, the final map in World at War. The map serves as a foundation for the entire game mode, both mechanically and plot-wise. As per the map's description, this is where it all began. This is where the master plan took shape. Is this where it all ends? Riese is the first map to have an emphasized focus on building lore. Around the map lie numerous radios, walkie-talkies, scraps of paper, and ciphers that all help to paint a picture of the secrets underlying this entire game mode thus far. Walking around the map, you can immediately notice how it's some kind of research facility led by a certain Group 935 with teleporters and electric machinery all over the place. Not to mention the numerous research papers and pictures strewn about everywhere. Zooming in on these scraps of paper give you further hints as to what element 115 is, with its being produced by decaying into a metastable isotope after bombarding an americium-243 nucleus with a calcium-48 nucleus. Interestingly, the scrap states how it's led them to believe that transference of matter and even reanimation is possible. Now, the ideas put forth by Night of the Living Dead and the meteoricides and zombies all essentially culminate in this element 115, used to reanimate the dead and teleport matter. However, another scrap details how the power of using 115 is undeniable, but questions who can use such weapons without themselves turning, lending credence to the idea that the disorienting effects caused by being near the meteorite in Shi No Numa were due to some infection factor separate from mere radiation. Aside from this, we have the cipher near spawn, which, when translated, reads, "Edward, it's time to kill Maxis." Okay, just who are these people?
Sophia, this letter is to go to the Reichstag High Command immediately. Gentlemen, it is with the utmost urgency that I draw your attention to the lack of funding being injected into the giant project. While I believe we are close to realizing the ultimate plan, we still have several years of development before it is ready. It would be folly to cut our expenditures so early in our development. As you know, early tests on the DG2 have easily outperformed expectations, and we fully anticipate mass-producing the Wunderwaffe within the next few years. Work on the matter transference has, however, come to a standstill. We simply do not have enough Element 115 to continue the experiments. The test subjects have survived teleportation, but are currently unresponsive to commands and cannot be controlled. If we are to overcome this obstacle, we need to increase the frequency and size of the experiment. To this end, I suggest we find not only a regular supply of 115, but that we also find a larger conduit to channel the energy. Our operatives in America have informed us that the U.S. has a large supply of the element at the Nevada base. So time is of the essence if we are to stay ahead of them. This cannot be done if you cut the budget, nor can it be done if you insist on pressuring us into action before we are ready. I am of course available for discussion on the matter, but in the meantime, I will continue with the work here and try to win this damned war. Signed, etc., etc., Dr. Maxis.
At the height of World War II, the utter dominance the Nazis held in designing weaponry struck fear into the hearts of the Allied forces, especially when it came to their cutting-edge innovations, aptly dubbed Wunderwaffes or wonder weapons. Among these were rocket interceptors, fighter jets, inconceivably large and powerful tanks, and, arguably the most notable of all, the world's first long-range ballistic missile, the V-2 rocket. They had no shortage of these wonder weapons, with many of the newer designs never even leaving the prototype stage. All of this was carefully and secretively undertaken by the Nazis in underground facilities, with them not shying away from using slave labor as a means of rapid development. Yet, in the eyes of the public, it wasn't just scientific ingenuity that set the Nazis apart. A shroud of occultism surrounded their undertakings. Now, the Nazi regime's fascination with occultism and esoteric beliefs was indeed a real thing, but in reality, it's often all quite overblown. So there were these individuals called Ariosophists who believed in the ancient wisdom of the Indo-Aryans that came from modern-day Iran and northern India in prehistoric times. Approaching World War II, there happened to be many key figures influenced by the Ariosophists who believed in a so-called Aryan race in the north, holding advanced tech and knowledge, with some even believing themselves to be the true descendants of those people. As the Nazis eventually gained more power, the SS and Heinrich Himmler promoted these racial doctrines, fostering the idea that Germans are the pure descendants of the supreme Aryan race, replacing the idea of Indo-Aryans entirely, as they based it off of a completely different location and a completely different group of people. Now, in their quest to validate the notion of their Aryan superiority to the rest of the world, the Nazis, they scoured for archaeological evidence that would establish them as a transcendent race, hoping to find some revered relics in their homeland. A popular venture involved their search for the Ark of the Covenant, a revered biblical relic said to house the stone tablets bearing the 10 Commandments from the story of Moses. And whenever I hear 10 Commandments, I think of that one comment I got a couple years ago. Only real ones remember that shit for real. Now, another venture involved their search for the lost island of Atlantis, an idea put forth by Plato regarding this ancient superior race who were flooded by the gods as they eventually became corrupted. Regardless, their attempts at gathering evidence for their lineage ultimately fell short. If you're interested in a self-contained video about this topic and how it ties into zombies, I've made a separate video here that you can also watch. Now, in the eyes of the public, this enigmatic realm of occultism associated with the Nazis put forth many bizarre and speculative ideas. Among these ideas was the the Wunderwaffe Die Glocke, or the bell. Whispers suggested it was an otherworldly device fusing advanced technology with the esoteric, with some believing it to have capabilities of time travel and teleportation. Scientifically, people believed it to exploit anti-gravity, which is this tantalizing concept of defying the Earth's gravitational pull, thereby enabling objects to float or move freely without the constraints of conventional physics, as I expertly demonstrate here, of course. In reality, anti-gravity cannot be fully realized without a fundamental theory of quantum gravity. And you might be wondering how in the fuck any of this is related to zombies, and believe you me, you're gonna be asking that same question a billion more times throughout this video. So the reason I hyperfixate on the real-life influence on COD Zombies is because back then, that was all we had to go off of. You look into some of the information surrounding Die Glocke in real life, for example, then come back to Riese and oh, look at what we have here, if it ain't the literal Die Glocke, but like 3 of them for some reason. Now, Dr. Ludwig Maxis in the audio recording talked about yet another Wunderwaffe, the DG2. Now, I don't know why Group 935 wanted to mass produce the thing to aid the Nazis in the war effort when you can literally just spend 950 points to obtain it from the box, but like with how Hitler believed conventional weaponry to be superior over their own atomic program, thereby hindering Nazi atomic research, I think it's pretty safe to say intelligence wasn't the Nazi strong suit. Am I right, fellas, or am I right, fellas? Now, we have answered a number of questions thus far in what Riese is and what 115 is, but the question of who Dr. Edward Richtofen is still remains a mystery. Through some of the other radios, you can find what seems to be a rather tragic tale involving some of these key figures.
Now, you must be very diligent with her, Samantha. Owning a dog is a great responsibility.
Yes, Father. Oh, I love her.
You must feed her every day and walk her, and be very careful when you play with her. You know she's going to have puppies.
Really? Can I keep the puppies too, Father?
We'll see, Samantha. One step at a time. Edward, tie the damn thing down! We can't have it running around during the test!
It's tied down now, Dr. Maxis.
Initiating test number 5. Subject is within the test chamber. Activate power.
Searching for vitals. No reading, Doctor. The subject has disappeared. Dr. Maxis, we've done it!
Don't be foolish! Test number 5 is unsuccessful. Subject has vanished, yes, but has not reappeared at the mainframe. Recalibrate the damn system, now! Initiating test number 6. Subject is within test chamber. Activate power. Damn it, Edward! Did you set up the device correctly?
Yes, Doctor. As per your specifications.
If you had done it to my specifications, then it would have worked, wouldn't it? As usual, your incompetence has...
What? Do you hear that, Doctor?
Quiet, you fool! Test number 6 is a failure, but the experiment has caused some kind of electrical force energized within the chamber. Well, open the door!
Doctor, I don't think...
Open the door! Now!
Daddy, what are you doing with Fluffy?
Damn it, Samantha, I told you never to come in here. Edward, get her out of here.
Yes, Doctor.
What's wrong with her? Daddy, what did you do? Fluffy!
Come back here, Samantha! Stop her! Easy. Come here, Samantha. Good girl, Flossie. Gently, Samantha. That's not Flossie anymore. We must get out of here. What? Edward, what are you doing? Open the door! Edward, open this door now!
I'm scared.
Don't go. Stay by me, Samantha.
Goodbye, Dr. Maxis.
Now, in the vein of the average Gen Z YouTube short nowadays, it's at this point that Richtofen pulls out his phone and records himself doing a TikTok dance in front of his murder scene, with some extra reverb funk playing in the background. Of course, he's literally me. In the clandestine laboratories of Group 935, madmen toiled surreptitiously to beckon undead super soldiers from the clutches of death itself, all in an effort to aid the Nazis in World War II. But as the twisted experiments unfolded, the unforeseen consequences of tampering with life's boundaries began to unfold. Hidden in the notes scattered on the laboratory floors, Operation SHIELD reveals itself to be a contingency plan, a directive that prescribes the ingestion of cyanide as a last resort in the event of a catastrophic outbreak of their abominable creations. It is unclear at this point what exactly caused this outbreak to happen, but regardless, as heard in this audio log in the map, the air grew heavy with an impending sense of doom, as the scientists found themselves trapped in their own nightmarish creation.
But I'm all out of hope. Auf Wiedersehen, my friend.
Warning, the shield is now active.
Damn it!
Scientists
I can't find my pills.
designated materials and report to the barracks.
They are coming.
It's not drill.
I must do what I must do.
Shield is now active.
God forgive us all.
To destroy our designated materials and report to the barracks. This is not a drill. Warning, the shield is now active. To destroy our designated materials and report to the barracks. This is not a drill. Warning, the shield is now active. Scientists are to destroy our designated materials and report to the barracks. This is not a drill. Warning, the shield is now active. To destroy our designated materials and report to the barracks.
Amid the despair in Riese, one cannot help but wonder if the outbreak was a direct result of Dr. Richtofen. After all, there exist several hints of planned mutiny in the map, with it all culminating in the murder of Dr. Maxis and his daughter. Perhaps with how Dr. Maxis treated him so harshly, as evidenced by the audio recordings, he felt the need to exact revenge, no matter how dire the consequences. Or, as evidenced by a so-called master plan in the map's description, perhaps there is something more to it. The question of how the zombies came to be seems to be more or less answered, but one also cannot help but speculate on the origin of the map's hellhounds. A clue hidden within one of Maxis' audio recordings spoke of a dog, an innocent subject of his sinister experiments, heavy with the litter. In that macabre revelation, the origin of these hounds roaming the desolate laboratory seems to be laid bare. There's not much else present in the map besides like a couple cryptic phrases like "Teddy is a liar" written on the walls. Upon first thought, that phrase could refer to the teddy bear in the box, how it manipulates you to gamble away your child support money for a guaranteed 1% shot at the ray gun. However, if that's too reductive, it could also refer to Dr. Edward Richtofen, seeing as how Teddy is a nickname for Edward? Not sure where the T came from, but as Richtofen is being built up to be this conniving psychopath with some sort of ulterior motive, this explanation is quite likely anyhow. There's also something wrong with the moon.
I'm over here stroking my dick.
Now, I remember as a kid there being like many rumors about this teddy bear that could be seen on the moon in this map, and I'm not exactly sure where they got the teddy bear idea from, seeing as how this spot is distinctly reminiscent of the same red 115 meteorite we saw in Shi No Numa. The moon formed as a result of this hypothesized planet called Theia colliding with the Earth 4.5 billion years ago. If the element has been there since the very beginning, the idea of element 115 on the moon is unsurprising, to say the least, considering how the Earth and Moon are essentially twins in terms of composition. But if the element only crashed into the Earth in the 1900s, it is somewhat interesting to see how the Moon had the same fate and what that may entail. Besides that, I love how you can just interact with this red liquid if you have Juggernog and your character just grunts. People hypothesized that this upgrades your Juggernog perk, which upgrades your health by the way, but that's just not true. There is a chance it could be the hypothesized Serum 525, a sort of fuel, violet or red in color, which powered a lot of the secret Nazi wonder weapons like the Die Glocke, but there is just no evidence in the game that points to that being the case. I wish there were a lower reason for this, but like, I literally don't know what the fuck this is, I'm not gonna lie. But yeah, as far as Easter eggs and the lore in this map go, that's kinda... it. And yes, I am having a lot of fun with these dramatic Nexpo-ass plot twists. For real, for real. Shooting the switch outside the map with an upgraded weapon allows you to play a little minigame of will my heart stop or not, because I can only imagine what it must have been like as a kid. Just accidentally shooting the switch and then hearing this high-pitched demonic announcer delightfully screaming at you. As revenge for the screaming, you can commit a Class A felony by throwing the monkey bomb, which the announcer loves, into the furnace, making the announcer just slightly upset. At this point, it's logical to proceed onward to the next game, Black Ops, continuing the lore of zombies and seeing where it all ends up. However, I have not discussed one crucial medium within zombies used as a supplementary storytelling device: the music. Let me illustrate to you just how revolutionizing the discovery of this was to my life. Imagine you're me, a 6-year-old kid in 2010, having just discovered the next map in Zombies, Kino de Toten from Black Ops. Imagine you go onto YouTube, you search for the little game over mini song that plays in Kino when you die. You scroll down and find a saint in the comments pointing out the very non-obvious fact of each game over song foreshadowing the next map's main Easter egg song. Now, you wouldn't even know what an Easter egg song is. Matter of fact, you wouldn't even know how to read English at this point in time. But luckily, the saint has given a link. You click on it, and instead of stumbling upon a Bitcoin miner, you stumble upon a clip of some guy flushing a toilet 3 times in the map Verrückt. Bear in mind that at this point in time, you have no idea Verrückt even exists. The only things you know are the names of your mom and dad, being mom and dad respectively. So, to come into terms with the idea that there could not only be other maps besides Kino, but also full-fledged secret songs that you can listen to is an experience akin to when Pythagoras pondered upon ideas that would later become his world-changing theorems. And by theorems, I don't mean theorems like the one where he unquestionably decided that fava beans are actually humans because they smell like cum. I mean theorems more like the Pythagorean theorem and the harmony of the spheres and stuff, and you're probably still thinking of the fava bean shit. Yeah, I don't know either, bro, but like, for me, the revelation of there being full songs led to many sleepless nights where I listened to each and every single one that there was up until that point and made sense of just why they were even there. It was only when I came upon the song in Kino that I stumbled upon yet another saint in the comments pointing out the most non-obvious fact in English just broken enough for me to understand. It was at this point that I realized the following: the clues as to what the plot in Zombies actually is lie in these very songs. I proceeded to dive deeper into this rabbit hole and found 2 types of fan theories on YouTube surrounding my postulate. As I have covered in this appropriately titled video, one type would be videos thrown together in Windows Movie Maker with Comic Sans explaining everything about zombies right from the universe's very inception, with Lil Wayne playing in the background, of course. The other type would be videos of some 13-year-old's chest recorded on a burner phone, because they're averse to both showing their face and purchasing better recording equipment for some reason. Hey, what's up guys, King Kong Gorilla Ding Dong here, and today I'm going to provide the most boring surface level analysis on a topic I actually know nothing about in the same monotonous voice that I always use, so let's spread open the ass cheeks and dive right in, shall we? The song 115 in Kino actually references the element 115. I mean, this is crazier than when the Nazis discovered element 115 and used it to create dead super soldiers to help win the war. I mean, this is absolutely nuts. I'm not 100% sure about any of this, correct me if I'm wrong, I'm not entirely sure, I haven't done any research on the topic, but that is how it went. Anyway, that's about it, see ya. There are 2 ways to look at the lyrics for some of these songs here. Beginning with the first one, the Verrückt song, Lullaby for a Dead Man. The lyrics reveal perspectives that could be from both the zombies and the Marines you play as, with some lines even suggesting the Marines' point of view as they succumb to the zombies and turn themselves. One can look at the second song in Shi No Numa, the One, and easily deduce how it's strictly from the zombies' point of view, as they hunger for flesh and blood yet ardently yearn a second end to their reduced life, as evidenced by the lines that express a kind of lust for human flesh before yearning for the one, or you, to step in and set them free through death, or undead, I don't know. If you've played World at War, you'd know that the new characters you play as are unusually zany, often engaging in absurd dialogue that can only hint at their mental states. Given that, you can look at the last song in Diaries, Beauty of Annihilation, and conclude that it's from the perspective of the 4 characters we play as, in Dempsey, Nikolai, Takeo, and of course, Richtofen, with the lyrics painting a picture of their lust for violence and chaos. However, there is a second way to look at all of these songs, and those supposed to come later. It's a perspective which had initially stood out to many as peculiar, but just valid enough. Especially throughout the tenure of Black Ops 1, the perspective is highlighted quite well in what is arguably the most iconic song in Zombies ever. A song so iconic that it makes me want to actually play Zombies whenever I hear it. Yeah, even though I'm making a bazillion-hour video about Zombies, I actually avoid playing Zombies as much as I can. I just like to talk about fucking Greek mythology and shit, using zombies as an excuse for real. But nonetheless, nothing stops me from satisfying that itch by actively playing the song instead of the game. But before we do that, I just wanted to ask, how about me and you do at the faster Riese? I'm also starting to confirm that what that one person said a few years ago about me happens to be right on the fucking money. Like, I'm known, Paul. I'm just a mere ghetto-ass deer, as you can clearly see, right? But as I was saying, I guarantee you that upon hearing just the first few notes, each and every single one of you out there will have a primal urge awaken deep inside, knowing exactly what song I'm referring to. I literally don't even have enough strings to play the rest of the song. What the hell? This shit to drop Z for real. In the first map of Black Ops, we enter Kino de Toten, a derelict abandoned theater in Berlin, overrun by the undead. In this map, you can activate the song 115. This song differs from the rest in having a point of view not applicable to any of the common figures spoken of prior. The speaker in this song is after some form of revenge, vowing to bring about the end while yearning for the power of 115. One can chalk it up to the zombies, but doing so would be somewhat of a stretch, seeing as how it personifies them as more than just beings ardently hungering for flesh and blood, as heard of in The One. One of the most fascinating and influential theories at this point in time revolved around this idea of a mysterious entity controlling the zombies. This theory not only provides a fresh perspective on the cryptic lyrics of the zombie songs thus far, but also offers an intriguing solution to the mystery behind 115's lyrics. In the derelict theater of Kino de Toten, a multitude of clues beckon to the perceptive observer, hinting at the identity of the enigmatic announcer. While some posited that the announcer is literally just Satan, due to a bunch of character quotes referencing the devil, the zombies chillingly crying out Sam, and the whimsical playrooms adorned with toys and teddy bears, all seem to present a trail of breadcrumbs that simply suggests otherwise. Connecting these disparate elements, the prevailing theory posited that Samantha Maxis, upon her untimely demise, retained a powerful, vengeful spirit that simply refused to fade into oblivion, as you can ascertain from this video about Samantha's ghost, of course.
Test number 3, unsuccessful.
In a manner that remains shrouded in ambiguity, she seems to wield an inexplicable influence over the shambling zombies. In this paradigm, the story takes an unsettling turn, where a desire for retribution trumps the natural course of life and death, weaving this narrative of special control that defies conventional understanding. It's further evidenced by how some of the dialogue in Kino, particularly that spoken by Richtofen, directly references Samantha.
Samantha, where have you run off to?
In this mode of thinking, the song Lullaby for a Dead Man takes on a more sinister tone, as it seems to reveal Samantha's unsettling knowledge of our thoughts and dreams. She expresses a deep yearning for understanding in the bridge, questioning her father on why he has left her all alone, just to not find any answer. In The One, her words hint at a desire to escape the haunting reality she's trapped in, painting a vivid picture of her distress. Beauty of Annihilation transforms into an anthem of Samantha's embrace of her newfound immunity amid the encroaching undead. And finally, the song 115 becomes a chilling manifesto, wherein Samantha bears her fiery hatred and thirst for vengeance, likening herself to the left hand of God, the Archangel Gabriel, who, according to some Christian traditions, sounds the trumpet to herald the end times. She draws parallels to the biblical themes of death and pestilence, harbingers of the apocalypse, as we await the second coming and a potential respite from the despair she is poised to unleash. But in a fleeting human moment, her words in the bridge echo with the question of just where her humanity has vanished, only for her to wield the lack of her humanity as just another weapon in her arsenal of vengeance. We step into Shattered Veil, or as I like to call it, the Salted Wheel. where we finally see the enigmatic Dr. Richtofen. Bro, why the fuck they made him fine as fuck though? Damn, now everything on fire. Now, I honestly don't know much about Black Ops 6, but it really is funny seeing some of these screenshots looking exactly like Elden Ring or some shit. Oh, hell no. But honestly though, it's a bit cool seeing the new rebooted lore around with like a new map what seems like every week. Like, where was this shit in Black Ops 3, bro? Like, you got some classic shit back too. Like, first of all, look, I ain't downloading 593 terabytes to play the game itself, so I'ma just show you some footage from my favorite YouTuber, Mr. Dalek JD, where he shows you how you gotta waste all of your Molotovs one by one trying to hit this one bonfire over here before realizing there's still 2 more to go for real.
I think that's right. I don't know if I can pick it up. Oh my god. Oh my god. Okay. I'm getting distracted by balls.
Bro, like... What even is Mr. Dalek JD, bro? Like...
Or on the bottom floor, on top of this box on scaffolding near 11.
What the fuck? He has a real nice accent, I think. He knows what he's talking about. Whenever I hear the British accent, like in a video, I just click off because it reminds me too much of Mr. Waffle Waffles.
My life.
Yeah. Too much trauma involved.
Or Dalek. Fucking Dalek.
Some of these screenshots look absolutely great, and I feel kind of saddened that I can't find the time to get back into the lore again, because I really did enjoy playing Terminus and seeing all the Lovecraftian elements in that map. Never played Liberty Balls though, so I can't exactly comment on why exactly they turned a former Nazi into a white American-ass dad living his best suburban family life before,
For God's sakes!
But you know, they already turned Sam and Eddie into suburbanites once back in Origins, so probably the best thing I love about the new games is the music. I already talked about the music a little bit, and so I thought it kind of makes sense to bring up how even though it's been years and years since I've actually been playing zombies, the music hits just as good as it did when I was like 8 years old. Even though I can't say the same for the actual game itself, I can for the music. It's not that I feel the new games are bad or anything, just that I can't connect to them. But of course, a new song like Falling to Pieces will come out with references to like 115, and it'll hit me right in the nuts. Like, I make fun of him sometimes, but I love Kevin Sherwood. It won't be the same without him, and he's probably half the reason I love zombies as much as I did. I'm gonna continue talking about the lore in Kino, Dead Ops, and 5 next weekend, and the reason I brought Black Ops 6 up is to kind of highlight the reason for why I'm not covering anything past BO4. I think it looks really cool and fun, but making something like a long video on it without having passion would just not be the right move is all. But if there are any older fans of zombies watching this video, check the new songs out. It's the same vibe in songs like Can You Hear Me, which is my personal favorite, and Falling to Pieces. But anyway, just a tangent. I know you guys hate me rambling on, but again, as I always said, I always established myself as the biggest supporter of Mr. Dalek JD.